and Queensland, Australia. In fact, a very good afternoon, and I know it's a very, hopefully, good morning for everyone that's out there today. Thank you for the invitation from Tafe Queensland to join the Global Education Scholarship Summit for Africa. I've been so impressed. I've been watching some of the sessions over the last couple of days, and I'm really impressed by the quality of the organizers, the sponsors, the partners, and feel very privileged that Tafe Queensland, one of Australia's largest training providers, can be involved, and also one of the one that won, I guess, the best international education training provider of the year back in 2019, just before, unfortunately, the pandemic hit. But it's a big welcome, and it's my turn today to introduce myself and a bit about the institution that I'm very privileged to work for. I represent for Tafe Queensland, which is one of the largest states in Australia, one of the prestigious, longest, most established institutions, almost 140 years now, that delivers principally vocational skills training to over 110,000 people each year. And we get over 3,000 to 4,000 students from overseas coming to our shores. I've got a bit of a slideshow presentation, so I'll talk through that just to give all of you a pretty good idea of what we do. Firstly, just so we understand, in Australia, Melbourne, Sydney in the southern part, Queensland is in the northern part, which is the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef, which many of you will be familiar with. And also up in the northern region, it's also the gateway to some of the world's best rainforest. But along the east coast, the strip of Australia, there's about 2,000 kilometers of pristine beaches, beautiful seaside communities, and Tafe Queensland has 70 campuses, 25 of which take international students. So there's a lot of variety. I mentioned before that we're the only government operated, funded organizations for the state of Queensland. And we're the only one that would do that. There's other TAFEs in our country, but in Queensland, Tafe Queensland is the government-owned, operated training provider. And essentially that was built over 135, almost celebrating our next birthday, years ago, to actually address skills shortages. And the focus of the TAFE system, which stands for Technical and Further Education, is all about skills development. I'm always very pleased to say that the focus of our training is 80% practical, 20% theory. You spend more days per week, more hours per day, but what you're learning are real skills. And sometimes that's what employers are after. They want to know that you can actually do something. So that's why we have an employer satisfaction rating of close to 94%. Most of our graduates, over 85%, would go on to find work or employment after 3 to 12 months. And we have a very, very high satisfaction rating of our students. Next, though, this is the award. It's a national award. So before the pandemic hit, we were the International Training Provider of the Year. And because there hasn't been the ability to do these awards in the last 2 years, well, we kind of still hold that award. But that's amongst all of the vocational training providers in the whole country of Australia. And we still hold that award, and many others amongst those. For those that may not understand how technical vocational training works, we sit above high schools, but in a sense, slightly below the undergraduate, postgraduate sector. So TAFE fits between the certificate level to the advanced diploma level. In a few cases, we have associate degrees. But what TAFE does is we've built pathways to all of the top universities in Queensland and indeed throughout Australia. For example, the Australian Catholic University, Griffith University, James Cook University. There are many, many university pathways that meet with TAFE teachers. And what we do is, and this, you won't be able to read this on your screen, but just to give you an example, we have a pathways guide for international students. What TAFE does, which not all organizations can do, our teachers meet with the university teachers every 2 to 3 years, and they actually look really in depth at our programs and the degree programs, and they work out where you would finish the diploma and where you would start the degree. In some cases, you would finish a first year of a diploma with TAFE, but instead of starting a 3-year degree, you might actually start in the second year of a degree, therefore only do the last 2 years. In some cases, you would get enough credit points so that your 4-year degree becomes 3 years. So TAFE prides itself on being able to say, we have written agreements with all of the main universities which provide for those diploma to degree pathways. So this week, you will hear from, and you have heard from, some very, very prestigious universities. There are pathways that they've agreed with Tafe Queensland that allow you to start getting the practical skills, the portfolio, the work experience, and then move further and further into a degree program. To give you an example, though again you can't see this, what we publish is actually agreements between our diploma and, in this case, a very small case, but we might have up to 16 or 20 universities offering a degree package, and they actually publish how many credit points that you would get towards your degree. There's a massive cost saving in all of this. The reason that the TAFE system works so well for international students is essentially because our entry requirements tend to be quite generous. You know, if you want to do a certificate 3 in IT or in business or in hospitality or in childcare, we just look at your year 10 results, and our English requirements minimum is 5.5 IELTS academic with no band less than 5, or if you're doing a Pearson's test, PTE, 42 with no band less than 36. So there's an entry pathway for those students that may not be high achievers, but still want to do something in terms of developing their career. They would start with a TAFE pathway, go from certificate to diploma, and then diploma to degree. And that can be really good for 2 reasons. One is, in the TAFE system, unlike a university system, you might spend 3 days per week, full-time, in a class, but with people from around the world and Australians that are at the same level, and you're developing your confidence, your skills. Our assessments are usually done every few weeks, and if you don't pass it the first time, you get a second chance. So we work on a basis of competency-based training, and then after a period of time, you move through stages. University systems, quite frequently, they would look at assessments being quite substantial reports or exams or major projects. We tend to go for smaller assessments. So if your English levels are a bit lower, if your high school report cards are a bit lower, TAFE can be a really good way to build up your confidence. But not only that, it's the practical skills that we focus on. And that's what I'm going to turn to. So the kinds of things that TAFE does, because we're a technical and vocational institution, things such as the engineering field, particularly now with the importance of air travel. So aircraft maintenance, which we do in association with Aviation Australia, which is part of the Queensland government. We, of course, do a lot of the business programs, and we've developed these up to 18 months to 2 years, from certificate 3s, certificate 4s, up to diplomas. And in the business field, you would actually get 2 degrees, a diploma in business plus a diploma in leadership management, or a diploma in business plus marketing and communication, which is all about the e-commerce and social marketing. But all of those give you that 1-year credit to some of the major universities. We specialize in a lot of very high-end, very expensive programs, everything from film and TV, animation, visual effects, through to graphic design, photography. And all of these, again, if you just consider that all of these are with highly competitive, very creative people with wonderful facilities worth millions and millions of dollars, because our government has invested so much to develop the creative arts, that you're actually getting exposure, not just the Western exposure, but also to a multinational exposure with the latest equipment and software. The IT field is really, really developing for us. And it's perhaps not on the screen, but we've actually developed things in cloud engineering, software development, but also cybersecurity. And these can be packaged with some of our other programs, which require skills in IT, but also those creative art areas. Building design, drafting, which lead to architecture, carpentry, 2-year programs, cabinet making. These are things which are highly attractive and can fill up quite quickly, because the facilities that people do the training in can be, well, in our case, are worth between $30 to $150 million. And they're funded by our government. But what they do is they give you the skills to be a qualified cabinet maker, building designer, draftsman, or a carpenter in the construction field. And because they are 2-year programs, they can lead to good employment opportunities. 2-year package in the Cert 3 and Diploma of Childcare. If you've got an interest in working with young children, from infants right up to about age 5 usually, our program includes an enormous amount of vocational experience. And one feature of the TAFE system is, in our programs, the majority of them have mandatory vocational placements. And they can range from, in the case of, say, childcare, which would be about 240 hours of vocational placement, up to the trades like carpentry, 400, and in some cases engineering, 480, where you're getting placed with top employers to get on-the-job training and build up your portfolio, and obviously increase your employment opportunities. In the engineering field, we specialize in the civil engineering program. Our associate degree, which runs for 2 years, is backed by Engineers Australia. And that's it is the leading peak industry association, which it looks at our program, it sends people in, it audits our program, and our engineering programs are all accredited by Engineers Australia, which has, in many cases, global accreditation in most countries around the world. Most of these programs have a diploma plus an advanced diploma. So you can use that either as just professional development training for yourself, or you can combine them with further training and get those credits off a degree. We're highly specialized in the health programs. Tafe Queensland trains on average about 2,500 nurses a year for Queensland. But our facilities, we have nurse training wards, we have dental clinics, we have professional laboratories and anesthetic technology clinics. These are actually run by clinicians. They are teachers, but they are actually working professionals. And your experience is working in a public setting, on campus, and also getting work experience off campus. We have a major focus, and in fact, one of our most popular programs is a combination of doing a commercial cookery program to be a chef, which takes 18 months, a year and a half, and then you finish that with a 6-month hospitality management program. We're specializing in patisserie with hospitality. We specialize in travel and tourism management, and increasingly becoming really popular is event management. And those programs can be easily packaged to degree pathways. But why they are so important for us is Queensland is known as the Sunshine State. If you don't know, we get over 5 million tourists here a year after the pandemic, but they come to see the reef, all the attractions, the nature, the wildlife, the indigenous culture, the rainforest. But while they're here, they stay for a week, 2 weeks, and they want to see all of the best that we can offer. So for our international students that can speak more than one language, this is a great opportunity to get work experience and potentially further opportunities as you go. I mentioned a bit about IT and cybersecurity, but some of the things which are really exciting for us is the facilities that we have at different campuses in the areas of networking and software development. We've got graduate success stories of people who have actually gone and commercialized their phone apps, their games, some of their system administration systems. The teachers are really of a high caliber. Most are master's to PhD qualified. And again, these lead quite easily into the major university degree programs. Just reminding you that the key thing here is that 3 days a week, possibly 4, you're doing 80% practical hands-on work. Automotive is one of our other really popular programs, and these are 2-year programs. If you're into the heavy vehicle, you're looking at diesel, plant equipment, things which would be suited for, say, mining infrastructure projects. Light vehicle, as you know, would be for your civilian cars, and we also specialize in marine craft construction. These are 2-year programs, and we take people with just the year 10 requirement and that 5.5 IELTS, and they are full trade qualifications. So there are some other programs that we have, and I'm hoping that there'll be some comments for me as we go. But the main thing to say is that what Tafe Queensland does, which we're really proud of, is we are actually closing in on our 140th anniversary, sponsored by the Queensland state government. And that most of our programs have a really mandatory requirement for hands-on training on and off the job. We have massive workshops. We have beautifully modern simulation wards. We have the latest equipment in terms of computers, animation, visual effects, dental technology. And we also have a built-in capacity for work experience and vocational placements. And while I know this is being recorded, I've never been caught short of saying that our international students find it really easy to gain employment once they've been doing our programs. And part of that is because of the reputation of our Tafe Queensland Institute, the high caliber of training, and also that what we do, in fact, is we employ professional people from industry that are then teaching in our classes, as opposed to hiring teachers that may have some knowledge of the industry. I'll wait just in case there's a couple of comments or questions. Look, there's a question around pricing, so I'll just refer to that. So the average price per semester, there's 2 semesters per year. Our intakes are usually late January and the middle of July each year. So for next year, if you are applying, you'll be applying for the end of January or the beginning of February. Our course fees are based around a semester payment. So the cost for a TAFE diploma or a 2-year course would average around $7,000 per semester, $28,000 for over 2 years, whereas a community services diploma, for instance, might be only $10,000 over 1 year. So between $5,000 to $7,000 would be an average annual fee, and then you would translate those credits towards your university pathway if that's what you choose to do. One of the requirements that we have, not just your academic results. For academic results, what we look for all the time is we just need to see that in your senior school years that you've maintained a credit or pass roughly 60% average in your main academics. Again, for that English test, 90% of our courses require 5.5 IELTS academic overall, no band less than 5. there are some of the engineering programs and certainly nursing which do require higher. Tafe Queensland also has its own ELICOS centers in several campuses, so there are some English pathways that you can subscribe to depending on your results. And finally, the main thing that would be important to take away from my talk today is that our pathways with universities are very strong. They are documented. They are on our website. And we enjoy that with pride that we have negotiated, and we keep negotiating every 2 to 3 years, the requirements between the university side and the TAFE side so that there's a seamless pathway for our graduates. I'm proud to say that we've got students from Cameroon, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia. I could keep going, Sierra Leone today. So I look after the African countries that call, and we have each week probably about 50 calls from African students looking to study with Tafe Queensland. So we'd love to see you. We have a very welcoming campus. It's our first week back this week, and there's a lot of excitement on campus with our orientations. I might just wrap it up just for a minute and see if there's any more comments. Okay, I think we might be coming to an end. I just wanted to make a special thank you to Lepong and Sharon, and also Brian. It's a great team, really exciting what they're doing. I think this week is super important, and I hope we see more of this. And if you're out there and you're listening, I think this is probably one of the best events I've experienced. And I think this is really important for you to make your decisions about coming to Australia and developing a pathway to a really successful career. So if I may, I might stop there and thank you.